everybody.
Hi there.
Aloha, everyone. Back on a fresh episode of Sacred Convos. How have you all been? We missed you guys. We're excited for another session. We're going to freestyle. There are some topics that we want to touch upon, but we always allow space for the sacred feminine, the one that comes in fluidity, in flow, in the unexpected, in blessings to guide us today.
Awesome. I'm so enthused. I'm excited. The flow will guide us wherever we need to be today and whatever we need to touch upon.
Yep. Straight up. Beautiful.
So how
I'm
have
just
you
going
been?
to start with asking. That would be my opener. Fair enough. I've been like the sea with with a plethora of waves and of some massive waves, and then a lot of calm sea surface, and then again some waves. So I'm just trying to navigate, to surf through those ups and downs, and try to see the making sense in all of it, and the growth and the learnings from all of that. Yeah. How have you been? How have you been?
Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, Alexandra is a soul surfer, which means that she's a physical surfer in life, but she's also have as a mission in life to know how to surf with her soul the waves of life, and she can also coach you through your own waves. So I think that's a fantastic thing, going through your own mission every day. So aho on that. How have I been? More or less the same as you. I think there are very intense times, and there is a lot going on in so many levels. And there are personal things, there are transpersonal things, there are planetary things, and even more. So yeah, I have been trying to, not stay in a low place if I can. Things come up, things show up, get triggered. We're all human, but my oath to myself, it's like it will happen, and I will feel that, and I will allow that to happen internally. Either that's frustration or anger or sadness, but I will not stay there. I think I've been, pretty good with that. I'm happy with myself. It's not always the fastest way out of it, but at least I don't stay there for, days, and weeks to pass by, which I used to do some time ago, like long time, but I found myself very difficult to get out of it. So I think that's the most important, because as you said, waves come and go. So if the wave has gone, but you are still with that, life is moving on and you're just staying somewhere else. So we need to roll with that. We need to soul surf.
I always appreciate the way you take something, go in beautiful depth, zoom out again into the wholeness of everything, and just close with a tiny teeny saturation and humor. I love that, and thank you for your kind words. Yeah, for the ones who don't know Lydia's work yet, Dr. Lydia de León, she is, oh my God, where do I begin? So specialized in so many different fields. To me, she's of the very few people I've known in this lifetime who understand, similar with, those enlightened minds of the medieval periods, your Benjamin Franklins, your Goethe, that not only have an abundant understanding and depth of knowledge on one field, but no. Once you are already blasted away by their knowledge and their profound wisdom, they're going to open you a whole different field of knowledge. And you ask yourself, has this person maybe cracked the code for timelessness? Or how does she in her one lifetime gathered all this information for real? Let it be astrology, let it be the self-healing powers of the body, healing from within. Let it be deep, profound, over the top knowledge of how to live in a sacred space, of how to embody notions where the architecture can heal us, having taken so much from the sacred geometry, which in the end our universe is built upon. There are so many things that this woman is blasting me away with every time. That's why I'm confident that we can keep this show running, and yeah, she will astound you like she's astounding me all the time. So having all of that huge package bundled up with such utter humility, that is what touches my heart every time. Your humility and eventually your grace, of course.
Oh my, I am really humbled. I think I'm
He's
blushing.
not really good at taking compliments. No, that needed to be said. Having you as a person in my life is like having 100 people in my life, because you embody so many things.
I'm
And
honored.
now,
Beyond words, I'm honored. So let's get it on. What do we have for today?
So today, I felt inclined to start perhaps tapping on. The other day, you mentioned the notion of an actual mask that right now is pretty common in everyday life, and some governments are forcing that upon us, to perhaps take this symbolically to the next level. Do you remember what you told me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything in this world can be used constructively or destructively. I truly believe that for anything. So, a mask can also have a very positive way to be used. Personally, I don't believe that in our everyday lives, the way it is, assumed to work is very effective. Of course, everybody, be free to have your own opinion. It's all respected. If you feel, that's what you need to do, please do it. Please do your own research, of course, because there is a lot of scientific research from doctors, showing very clear evidence why that can impair our respiratory system, but that's another conversation. But on a symbolic level, I really think that, a lot of us have an issue with self-criticism, and a lot of us, many times in our life, we're very hard on ourselves. And we just give ourselves a really hard time. We are like our own inner dictator. What is happening outside in our world, I think, we have created it in some level. We have co-created it. So that means, for sure, in my own perspective, that holographically, there is a representation of that suppressive energy, tyrannic energy inside of us. In some people in higher, amounts, let's say, in some people less, but I think more or less we all have that. And that doesn't come from a place of love. So I think if we want to have hope for a better world, we really need to start with self-love. And that's not coming, some people might say, oh, she's going to say that thing again. Yes, I'm going to say that thing again. And that's not like a new age idea. It's exactly, blended with science today. You want to see outside a world full of love. You want the government to love you. You want it to be respected and accepted. Start with your own self. How are you treating all these different voices inside yourself? How are you letting them speak to you or suppress you, So I would think that a nice way to use masks is the next time you hear that very tough voice inside yourself telling you the worst, coming from a place of no love, put a mask on that better and shut it up. So Yeah, that's a helpful way. So if you have had enough of that, and you know your mind is on the overload and can't stop talking about it, and you know you suck, or you're a failure, you're the worst, you cannot do that, you know you're weak, you're powerless, you cannot do anything. We all have these voices, like so many of them. Yeah, yeah. Put that mask on. You don't need to listen to these voices. Why? Because they are not going to get you anywhere. They are not going to help you move ahead with your life. They are not going to help you be a happier person. They are not going to help you like share your mission and help people. We all have that. We are all here to do something. We all have a mission, a special mission. We all have special gifts and talents. So these voices are never going to let us get there. So if I should silence, you know, someone with a mask, it would be these parts of ourselves that we have had enough. And then silence them and love them and keep them away. You know, that's it. And give space to other voices that are more constructive and are more productive and more creative and can bring solutions, because these voices do not bring solutions, unfortunately. How does that sound?
Boom! I would say mic drop. We're done for today. I'm leaving right now. But there wouldn't be a whole podcast session. Wow, yes, this is what I needed to hear, especially the other day when me, being an expert, having a PhD, I would say, in self-criticism, self-doubt, self-inner flagellation of like, I'm not good enough and I should have done that better. And like rarely having the capacity to just be at ease with, hey, you know, this is me. Hey, I've done that. Cool. Always having trained my mind for always focusing on what's not good enough. And eventually I felt I'm not good enough. And that was a perfect recipe to be chronically displeased. And what I love about your example, why it's helping me, is because I personally, you know, having also a background of filmmaking, I'm quite a visual person. And especially, I think it might help a lot of people in receiving a certain visual to be able to navigate in their inner worlds through obstacles, especially because our subconscious, which delegates 90% of all of our actions, our subconscious operates in terms of visuals. It doesn't operate necessarily in terms of words, right? And hence giving me a visual where I could put my inner doubting voices, just for a time being, to shut the fuck up. Just really putting them on that mask that I'm not intending to wear in everyday life. In real life, that's a whole different story though. But to use that as a visual and say, listen, if we're gonna do some hygiene work, let's do inner hygiene work. Let's truly just mask or put a filter on that harshness with which most of us are meeting ourselves. And it really helped me to hear that. So thank you for that visual. It was very powerful. And also, it just makes so much sense, understanding that we live in a holographic universe, that it's not the things out there that bother us as much as it is the things that reside within us, that we feed every single day, knowingly or unknowingly, that are thus being generated again and again and again and again in a ripple effect outside of us. And so tapping into that, we could also start considering that, yes, every single one of you, we do have the power, we do have the capacity to author a new paradigm for our existence, a new dynamic of doing collective living, of how we wish to meet ourselves, our neighbor, our governments, how we would wish them to meet us. And a beautiful, very wise person once said, not verbatim, don't take me verbatim, but in the essence it was as such: to see something that is not right, and to not do anything against that is just as bad.
Exactly.
To just bystand and let whatever is happening that might not be for the best for all of us, to just let that happen. However, we don't need to run to the streets anymore necessarily. You know, it's like Paris in May of '68, for example. Because we now, the past 40 years, understood so much more of our energy fields, of our magnetic fields, of how we are every single day, thus the holographic experience, feeding into that fabric called life, called society, that the real revolution comes from the inner evolution. And that's what I'm calling you all to do, and myself, for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the concept that you brought up. I truly feel every day more and more that, you know, we are, as humanity, we are all like co-authors of this book that is called The History of Humanity and the History of Earth. We all have a pen and we are writing into that book. And the way we write into that book is through our thoughts and our emotions, first of all, because that's what's being fed into the information field. Everything is an energy field, and you know, the very desk that I'm sitting on and the computer I'm looking at and everything around me is pure energy, and that can be transformed by consciousness. So I think that's the most important evolution that we need now on the planet, is the evolution of consciousness. And that comes from exactly what you said, the inner evolution. That's a huge revolution for the planet. So I would like to invite everyone, including myself and you, what thoughts and emotions are you feeding daily into this collective field? Because that's being written into that book and that writes the story. It really reminds me, I know we both were fans of Once Upon a Time, you know, that they actually had that book and they could add stories, and they realized that the actual actors or you know, Snow White or whoever it was, they could actually write their stories, but they had to find that book. And we have that book. That book is the energy field that, you know, Nassim Haramein and his work has proven scientifically. And we have the power to tap into it. Heart Math Institute has done incredible amount of work to see how we can like change the electromagnetic field of the earth. I mean, if that doesn't prove it, I don't know what does. So it's not a woo idea, and it's not a new age thing to say, you know, your emotions and thoughts are everything. They are everything. They feed in different frequencies. Imagine if that can be turned into music. Like, imagine if all day you're listening to something disharmonic and a horrible music. What will the effect of that be, you know, in people listening to that? So imagine if we're feeding all this negativity and really, you know, destructive emotions and thoughts into this field, then the reality that will manifest will not be the most positive one for us. But because we are these co-authors of this story of the planet and humanity, we can choose differently. We only need to choose first, you know? That's the most important thing, the choice. So we have freedom of choice in the things that we want to believe in the things that we want to think of, and in the way we want to feel. That is the most important freedom that we have. I really like repeat that to myself, because I also forget. It's not about what's going on, it's how we react to that. What is our responsibility? How can we respond? This, we can change it. It's in our hands, and that's our power. So we have the power to change that. And I love that you mentioned this thing about the subconscious, because that's something that I've been studying a lot and it's very interesting to me. So the languages of the subconscious are symbols, images, and dreams. So the subconscious doesn't understand words. And if you want to re-register a new program in your subconscious, Dr. Bruce Lipton's work showed that, you know, our life is ran at least 90% from the programs of our subconscious. And there is a way to work with repetition to rewrite this. So that brought me the idea of a vision board, because a vision board does exactly that. It rewrites a new program into our brain. But before I get into that, I don't know if you want to tap into, you know, the things that I've been sharing.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you. Absolutely. That, oh man, that series, I forgot all about it. And I forgot that they had a book that everyone was invited to co-write as a conscious matter. Yeah, it's so cool. Absolutely. One thing I would advise people to do, and what I probably would have needed to hear at least 10 years ago, is that first of all, if you are new to this, if you're new to starting to engage consciously with yourself, starting to become more and more aware of where you're at, usually imagine, for example, you know, you're placed somewhere in the Sahara Desert. You don't know exactly where you are. You know that you want to go to the pyramids, for example. Just visualize the act of, you know, most of the people would probably hit on Google Maps or any other navigation system, but that navigation system, for you to navigate you to point B, to where you want to go, to those pyramids, for example, you need to understand where you are. And usually I think that is often a hindrance at the beginning. It's, ooh, where am I though? Where am I really with my state of consciousness? Right? Because there's so many different levels in our state of consciousness. There's that state where we condemn easy, we judge easy. We are being very harsh. And that contrast, if we are at that stage, which please, for the ones who do feel that they resonate with that stage, please, please, please be compassionate with yourself for that. Don't make yourself feel any worse that you feel this way. Just acknowledge that you do. Why am I saying that? No matter which stage you find yourself that you are at, is that your mind, since it comes from, you know, your brain comes from an organ that has two sides, it won't always tell you the truth. Facts are usually most true, right? Anything that is of mathematical understanding and can be reproduced, we can consider that that applies to a certain truth. But anything beyond the numerical, anything beyond the capacity to reproduce exactly one by one, that is of a different intelligence, of the intelligence of your heart. Dr. Greg Braden has done breakthrough work on that matter. That the one thing of how we perceive life, if we were to believe in everything we think, we would be a continuous ping pong between ideas and never get to the core of things. So that's my advice, is that A, don't believe in everything you think, but take every thought and just observe it. Does this thought come from a belief system that is truly coming from a place of wholeness, of wholesomeness? Or does it come from a place of fear? Nothing more, nothing less. Don't relate to the belief. Don't relate, to the fear and to the thought. You are not the thought. The thought is merely a reflection of where you are at. So let's say you identified a thought. You said, oh, okay, the actual root of that thought comes because my conviction deep down in my subconscious is, I don't have enough. I'm not safe enough, for example. and just take it as a messenger and get to the core of things. How? By entering into your heart space. They're beautiful breathing techniques. They are great exercises one can do. Also, if you want, I'm here to consult you on that. Lydia is here to consult you on that. As to as to how we can dive into this thing called the sacred space of the heart, where your wisdom lies, true wisdom that most of you haven't even tapped on. And when you open that ocean of wisdom, ooh, will you be blessed with your views on life? And that is where I would personally tend to believe in what comes from there, in order to navigate yourself to the true pyramid that is your ultimate consciousness state. So that's what I would add for that. But please continue that magical flow which you were in.
Beautiful sharing. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about the vision board, which is a technique and a tool that I've used a lot in my life with incredible results, way out of my imagination. I have to tell, I have a very strong imagination, so I was very impressed. I was just saying that if you want to rewrite a program in your subconscious, you need to feed that information and the new program through symbolism and through images, not through words. So, for example, if you want to manifest a different reality in your life, what you can do is you can look around the internet and find images that resonate with this reality that you want to manifest, and create like a board. You can take, one of these boards that you can pin things on, or you can just make one and print it, like a big one, like a poster, whatever resonates with you. Or you can even take, magazines and cut out images, whatever feels good to you. And basically what you do is that you fill that space with images or symbols that resonate with this reality. So if you want to, move into a new space and you're looking for that new house for yourself, what does this house look like? What does it feel like? Find similar images. What is the view? Put them all together. And what you do is that you don't even need to do even something actively if you don't want, because that happens subconsciously. You just put it like over your wall, on your fridge, or a place that you see every day. And that just gets fed into your subconscious. And it works really in an incredible way. And that can also happen for like a larger scale thing. So, this is the time that we all more or less, I think, want to manifest a new reality in our planet. So, how does this new earth look like? How does our life look like? We want abundance for everyone. We want food for everyone. We want health for everyone, like true health. We want freedom and happiness. And how does that look? Visually, people just, smiling, people being together, unified, people opening their heart and helping each other. So why don't we all, make a vision board with these images and just feed that into our reality, instead of feeding, fear and frustration? Why don't we transform that into focusing all this energy that we, lose in all these destructive emotions and thoughts into something that actually will create the new reality, rewrite that next chapter of the human history book. I think it's a very powerful practice, and I think that just the process of making it will help you transform a lot your emotions, will help you think, instead of what you don't want, what you do want, what we all want for all of us. Of course, I also, there are times in the day, and maybe it's not every day, that I get into fear and hopelessness, and I think, like, where is this planet going? And are we going to be able to travel? And are they going to force things on us? And then I'm like, I don't want to spend my energy there, you know, I want to spend it, what life do I want to live? What vision do I have for the planet, you know? So let me focus on that. So it's okay if we go in these waves up and down, and as you said today, you know, opening this conversation, it's all about surfing these waves, but don't stay there, you know. Transform that thing, use that energy, you know, of whatever that emotion is, and transform it, and really spend it. It's of immense value. Your energy is of immense value. We don't realize it, but every single thought and emotion has incredible amount of power and energy. So don't spend it, don't waste it in things that are just feeding, you know, lower frequencies and don't serve anyone but destruction. So spend it and invest it in how you want to design your future.
That's what's up. And if you ask yourself, because I know I used to in the past a lot of times, like, is this really gonna work? It might work for others, but for me, what usually makes me reconsider is that anything I've experienced until now, I have created it anyhow, even also at times where I believed I cannot create anything, I just as well have. Ideally, there are no situations that, you know, were meaningful for me. But even there, I was the author of that reality. So it works, and it works so much that even in times you don't think it works, it works. And that's the act of free will. That's the act of life, that eternal love that life has for us, is that even if we are convinced, even when we are convinced life doesn't happen for us, there's nobody coming to correct that, because you do have the free will to go as well along your life believing that. That's how much you're loved. You are so unconditionally loved that even the idea that you're not loved will be supported. So why not changing it? You're doing it every single second of your existence. Ooh, I needed to hear that today. Thank you, wisdom. So how about, beloved sister, how about we outro with a collective vision board that we co-weave together, where anybody who feels enriched after that, uplifted after that, reactivated and wanting to be alive, you can always use that last segment of our session today, like fast forward if everything else made sense, didn't make sense, whatever. But if that last gem that we're about to offer you does speak to you, extract that. And yes, you can listen to that every single day and be a part of it.
I think it's also important to keep that vision inside of us, you know, apart from the physical vision board, that it's something physical. And I think because we have a physical reality, it's also really important to, you know, have something physical that we resonate with. And it keeps being there, reminding us whether we want it or not, or whether we forget it or not, you know, it's there emitting that information. But also, I think our visualization power is very like powerful. What I mean by that is keeping a vision of the world inside of us, of a healthy, happy humanity in abundance, where everybody has, you know, all the things that they need. Everybody has clean water. A planet where, you know, we are loving and respecting nature instead of destroying, and we have respect for humans all around the world, no matter where they come from or what their background is or what their religion is. And we have respect and honor and love for the animals and the plants and the trees, and a planet that humanity comes together, a planet that we love each other, and a planet that we help each other evolve and we take each other's hand and move ahead. This vision, if we could just spend 30 seconds of our day tapping into that vision, the results will be incredible. I know it because I have lived it. I have the proof of that. I know that some years ago, somebody had recommended that to me, and I was like, yeah, sure. I don't think that's going to work. I'm a believer. I have faith. I'm Pisces, and I have tons of imagination. So, that should be very easy for me. But I had so much doubt. But there is the research aspect inside of me that said, I have to look into it and see how it happens or it doesn't happen. So that's what I did. I really invite you to spend 30 seconds of this 24 hours that you have today keeping that vision. And if the next day it serves you and it creates something beautiful inside you, keep that vision. It will be an investment for a future. You might think that, I am just magnifying it, but I'm not. This is the true investment for a future. Feeding this collective field that we have with what we want to live.
I'm so touched. Thank you. Yes, understanding that a lot of friction these days comes from uncertainty. It comes from the presumed lack of trust. It comes from the notion and the presumed conviction that I don't have enough, that there's not enough for everyone. That, I think, is one of the main roots of our moments of core frictions and upheaval on a collective scale. So I'm inviting you all, if you feel like it, close your eyes for the time being. Come with me on a journey. Breathe into your heart space. Make sure you become aware of your heartbeat. The continuous proof that you are a living being. Visualize as if you stand with both 2 feet solid, connected to the ground, in a place in nature that you find truly magnificent. Where you start to sense the pulse of the earth, that living planet which you are a part of. And visualize the notion of truly feeling aligned to the best of your abilities. Feeling and knowing deep, deep down you have enough of everything you need and more. There's enough time throughout the day since all of your necessities have been taken care of. Since your basic needs have been met, and not only yours, but that of every other human being, no matter their age, no matter their background, no matter their gender, no matter their cultural or national identity. And that in that stillness, where you find yourself to be at ease, because you don't have to hustle. To know that every single day you have at least the quarter of the day upon your own disposal. A time slot to engage in anything that feeds your well-being. That you can go after the things that make you feel alive. That you can invest yourself in the things that drive you and that curb your curiosity. Let that be cultural things, active things. And that having that as a single daily unit continuously, know that every other person experiences that abundance. And thus, when you all come together, it's truly a celebration. It's a union of wholesomeness and inner completion. And you will laugh about the days where you felt suppressed, in need, and worried. Knowing thus that the social immunity has grown to a scale where solidarity and trust are two daily nuances of our core collective. And I'm inviting you to breathe into your heart space. And if that resonated, allow it to happen. For it can happen. In your own time, when you feel saturated with that picture, with that next reality, gently open your eyes and let it go. Thank you.
I don't want to ruin this moment with words because the energy is just so beautiful. So thank you so much for this voyage inside. I feel so much peace and light. And I'm very grateful to have these beautiful sharings with you and share whatever comes through this channel. I will leave everyone with this beautiful energy that Alexandra just created. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and giving space to other ideas. And I will see you very soon with our next episode. Have a beautiful, blessed day.
Girl, this is a co-creation. And I felt I was dancing with you. You started to make the sound of the humming of the music, and I just went along playing on my bongo or whatever. I will go back to this soul journey that we just co-created daily and listen to it and thus feed into the capacity of its manifestation. knowing also that and valuing the capacity to that we right now, you and I, are having, for you to sit on the other side of the world from my standpoint and me vice versa, and yet finding ways to connect and to offer, at least that's our intention. How it comes across, it's all up to you guys, but to be joined with the shared intention of providing added value to our fellow human people and animals and everything that is alive. So thank you. Feel free to share any feedback, comments, questions you may have. And also input is always welcome for whatever you wish for us to tap into a different session. So I'm sending you my mahalo greetings. It's my love. And thank you for being with us. And to you, beloved sister, much love. Bye, everyone.